Hello gamers, I'm NKCL, and in this video I would like to talk about the Korean beta for Throne and Liberty. We will discuss some of the most talked about complaints and maybe offer different perspectives on some of these subjects, as well as touch on the good things that we can still expect from Throne and Liberty. Subscribers of the channel will know on this channel we try to take a rational approach to things, rather than let our personal feelings cloud our judgment. Personal feelings are important, and at the end of the day, they determine if we enjoy something or not, which, when talking about games, is the most important thing. However, sometimes our feelings are volatile. They will make us assess things incorrectly. Our feelings can also be taken advantage of. For example, it's the reason why gacha games work so well. For most people, it's not a rational decision to spend $1,000 on a character in Genshin. There's nothing wrong with doing so if you can afford it. But looking at the average income in first world countries, I would say that spending half of your month's salary on a game might not be the most rational decision. Again, don't misunderstand me, I'm not telling anyone how to spend their money. I myself make plenty of decisions based on feelings. All I'm saying is that we should not let our feelings cloud our judgment. So with that in mind, it's advised to take a step back and look at the whole picture. We might see a point of view that makes us like something that we initially didn't. Before I continue and we actually talk about Throne and Liberty, I want to say a few things. First off, I want to thank Steparu for allowing me to use his footage so you guys can see how the game actually plays and looks. I'm sure most people that are familiar with MMORPGs heard of Steparu before, but in case you didn't, he's the MMO gameplay guru, and he shows gameplay for a vast amount of upcoming Eastern games. So if that sounds like something that interests you, please check out his channel. Links will be in the description. I also wanted to take a moment and thank all the returning subscribers for being here. Thank you very much. If you are new to the channel, welcome. If you enjoy my content, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Alright, let's get back to the topic of Throne and Liberty, and I think we have to address the elephant in the room, and that is combat. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I was disappointed to see that they didn't change much from the previous test. Personally, I enjoy combat like BDO, even New World, but I am always willing to give other systems a try and see if they work for me. If you are not aware, the combat in Throne and Liberty is the standard tap targeting static combat. What this means is that you have to stay still for most abilities, and in the case of Throne and Liberty, there are very few movement abilities, which results in a combat that has a clunky feeling. One thing that other MMOs with this combat do to relieve this feeling is that they allow players to auto-attack while moving. While on paper this might not seem like much, it has a major impact on the feeling you get from combat. Personally, considering this is NCSoft, the makers of Blade and Soul and the parent company of Guild Wars 2, I really expected something more fluid and responsive. These expectations that I set for myself resulted in disappointment. So I took a step back and decided to look at the bigger picture and see if this combat has any redeeming qualities. Well, the first thing I could think of is that this is an MMORPG that focuses on the massive aspect. So it is not a 1v1 game, and as such, combat should not be judged in a 1v1 scenario. When you take into consideration multiple people using abilities and skills, things start to be a bit different. Movement and the frustration that results from people just walking away from your skills gets diminished. The fact that you have fewer skills compared to other tap targeting MMOs also means that the combat has to be more strategic. The room for error is much smaller when you have less tools. So, of course, the skills you choose to take and how you choose to use them will have a bigger impact on your performance. Personally, I'm still unsure if this will be enough to make me enjoy the game. I want to play it for myself, I want to see how it feels, and only then I can decide if this is for me or not. That being said, I still have some hope that they will change some things. At the very least, I hope that they will add the ability to auto-attack while moving. For me, this will have a major impact and would bring Throne and Liberty up to par with other tap targeting MMOs. I hope that they will do this, but I do not expect it. What's more likely to happen is that things will stay the way they are right now. That being said, maybe you are an old school MMO enjoyer and this kind of combat was exactly what you were looking for. After all, this is extremely similar to Lineage 2, so let's talk about other concerns. One of the other major concerns that I have seen brought up is auto-combat, which is called astral hunting in Throne and Liberty, and personally I'm quite sick of seeing this brought up by people that do not understand it, or in some case even people that are making and selling their own bots. Let me make this clear, there is nothing that I dislike more in MMORPGs than real money traders. In general, they are the ones selling bots and selling anything that can be sold for profit in MMORPGs. From cheats to currency to accounts, anything that will make them money regardless of what impact this will have on the game. I find myself keeping tabs on the situation, so sometimes I see chats between some of these individuals. And let me tell you, I have never seen such uproar in their communities as I have seen when they learn about astral hunting in Throne and Liberty. For your information, these bots usually sell as a subscription service and cost around $50 a month, having tens of thousands of customers, even hundreds of thousands when new MMORPGs release. As you can imagine, a game releasing with a feature like this built into it ruins their business and is making them miss on potentially millions of dollars. These leeches are the primary individuals hurt by the existence of auto-combat in Throne and Liberty, and since I see them as enemies of all MMORPGs, I am very happy with this addition. You can choose to understand this or not, and that is up to you, but personally I don't understand why this would be detrimental to anyone. I don't feel like there are many people that are super excited to go home from work and kill the same low-level creature for 3 hours instead of actually doing the fun stuff in game. And let's face it, MMORPGs will be grindy by nature. Farming irrelevant stuff at the end of the day is just fodder content that will always exist in MMORPGs for a variety of reasons. And honestly, that could probably be a full video on its own, so I'm not going to get into it here. There's another concern that has been raised on top of auto-combat, and that is the ability to use auto-combat while offline for 8 hours a day if you purchase the Battle Pass. Somehow, some people reach the conclusion that this is pay to win, and I fail to see how such a conclusion can be reached. For me, this is simple. You pay an out-of-game currency to obtain an out-of-game advantage. This auto-combat is in no way superior to the one you do while your game is opened. It just gives you the option to close your computer instead of leaving it on. Something that has no bearing on the game and only offers you an advantage outside of the game. This does not mean that there is no pay-to-win elements in the game, just that this one is not one of them. Talking about pay-to-win elements, there will be pay-to-win in the game, and you should expect things like boosters and the like. But they have taken an approach which I have only seen once before, and I personally believe it's for the better. Trading between players is done with cash shop currency, and if that sounds like pay-to-win, it's because it is. But as we discussed before on this channel, if they do not have pay to win in the cash shop, there will be real money traders that will offer it on third-party websites. However, and this is a big difference, implementing a system like this allows people that do not spend money to enjoy the cash shop for simply playing the game. This system has been trialed and tested in Warframe with massive success. Pay to win players will exist in MMORPGs, no matter what. But having a system like this, those pay-to-win players will be directly helping non-pay-to-win players in their adventures, instead of giving them a currency that may or may not be usable in the cash shop. Some other MMOs have similar systems but with extra conversions, like Lost Ark, EVE Online, RuneScape and many others. But the system employed by Throne and Liberty allows people to directly understand the value of their items, and this is also beneficial to non-pay-to-win players as it allows them to directly access the cash shop without praying that someone sells the items they want for in-game currency, like in BDO for example. On top of this, they have done another brilliant thing. They have implemented a trade tax that is 35%. This trade tax will not affect the average player, but it will do two major things. Firstly, it will stop market manipulation. Buying everything and reselling it will become a lot less profitable, and because of this, things will be bought when needed rather than bought to resell. So it stands to reason that more things will be available at decent prices. And secondly, again, it really hurts real money traders. For real money traders to not easily get caught, they have to funnel the funds from multiple accounts. Having such a steep tax means that they will be losing massive amounts of currency with each transaction, which will force them to have a smaller chain of transactions, making them easier to catch, or might make it unprofitable altogether, and hopefully we will see less of these parasites in the game. These are the major concerns and my take on them. But we should also not forget the good things that the game does, and maybe these are reasons to look forward to playing the game. The graphics will be the first one that comes to mind. The game is absolutely gorgeous. There is no contesting that. It also comes with an absolutely massive world that has elevation and underground zones. They did an exceptional job with the world. The game is also fairly well optimized. Of course, like any new game, it will require a decent PC to run, but that is nothing new. The game also offers a lot of intricate systems and quite a bit of customization available, so it does not let down players in this aspect. And once the game gets closer to release and I have a chance to play it myself, I might post some videos exploring these systems. The animations and even facial expressions are what you should be expecting from a new game, and they are very well done. The sound in general is also very high quality. Because the game will be published by AGS, I expect the voice acting to be decent in our version as well. The other thing that comes to mind is the questing, and in my opinion is pretty good. But this is subjective and people will have their own opinion on it. The last thing that I want to mention, and this might be seen as a negative by some, the game takes its time with leveling and exploring the world. You don't just rush through everything. Personally, this takes me back to the earlier days of MMORPGs, where endgame was not the only goal, where the journey was much more important, and I think most MMORPGs of today have lost that. Personally, I think that when you rush through things, they lose their meaning. Think about leveling and progression experience in most MMORPGs. They have no meaning, you just want to get it done and move along. Because the only worthwhile content is at endgame. This is not the case in Throne and Liberty, and this is one of the reasons why I still look forward to the game. I don't want to go into too much detail when it comes to the positive aspects. This video was mainly to address some of the concerns that I have seen after the beta, and my reasoning for why, despite being disappointed by the lack of changes to combat, I'm still looking forward to the game. Let me know what you think of Throne and Liberty now. Are you put off by it, or are you still going to give it a try? Thanks for watching. If you want to support my channel, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. See you in the next one, gamers.